Hello everyone, and welcome to what I hope is going to be the inaugural video for a channel that you all will find not only entertaining, but also a bit informative. My name is Chrysalis, and thank you for joining me. So, I figured I would start off this particular first video with a bit of an introduction, as well as my thoughts leading into Wrestlemania, which is set to happen this weekend. Just so that you all know, the reason why I decided to start this video is partly because, well, I find myself unemployed right now, and with plenty of time on my hands, one of the things I have been wanting to do is to get this up and off the ground. Now that I have plenty of time to do so, I figured why not? Obviously, wrestling is a fairly male-dominated sport, and one of the things I have noticed as I have reviewed things on YouTube is that though there are plenty of wrestling channels set up to review and provide their opinions and editorials on this wonderful entertainment that we all love and enjoy, very few of them happen to have female-driven leads or female-driven perspectives. I thought I might be able to provide a little of that, and in addition, I have some knowledge in order to back me up on my skill set base, as it were. I happen to have been a stage combatant for roughly 10 years or so, and though what I did was not improv the way that professional wrestling is, I do have a bit of understanding on how characters are developed, how storylines are developed, how the general overall feel of the show is kind of supposed to go, as well as what the moves are for most parts. A little bit of background: I started watching wrestling when I was a kid. I watched it off and on throughout my life. The bulk of the time that I watched wrestling was pretty much during the Attitude Era, with the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Hardy Boys, The Rock, Undertaker. I remember Undertaker starting, I think, in 91, 92. Might have been 93, but I'm pretty sure it was 91. I'd have to go back and check my references. But I remember his debut. I remember the Rockers breaking up a long time ago, which is pretty much what stopped me from watching wrestling for a little while. But a majority of the time that I watched wrestling was during what would be considered one of the golden ages of the sport and in sports entertainment. A lot of what we did as stage combatants during that time also pulled from the wrestling world. What we did was theater in the round, just like professional wrestling is. The difference is that what I did was choreographed. So I spent weeks and weeks and weeks choreographing and rehearsing one particular fight so that I could perform it over and over and over again and minimize the amount of damage that could possibly be done to myself and to my partner or partners if I was fighting more than one person. What they do, obviously, is improv. Now, for everybody out there saying that wrestling is fake, wrestling is story-driven sports entertainment. It is not fake. I can assure you, you get hurt. You try to do the best you can to make sure that the moves that you're doing are as safe as they possibly can be for yourself and for your opponents. But ultimately, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, as is evidenced by the fact that how many wrestlers have to retire before the age of 40 because their bodies are broken. That being said, I think I can provide an interesting perspective for you on what's going on within the world of sports entertainment, and in particular in the WWE. Now, I do intend to branch out and start watching other federations like AEW and NXT, especially now that I have the time on my hands to do so, but I will say that going forward, a majority of my content is going to be based on the biggest and baddest of them all, and that happens to be World Wrestling Entertainment. So that being said, let me head into what I think is going to happen this weekend coming up in Wrestlemania. Obviously, as everyone has said infinitum, we're in unprecedented times. I don't think anybody, in our lifetimes especially, has been through anything like this. Obviously, we have events like Kennedy and 9/11 that have shaped quite a majority of us throughout this particular generations, but I think the last time something of this magnitude actually happened was the flu epidemic in 1918. Obviously, it makes things interesting. Many of us are getting laid off. Many of us can't afford the things that we used to be able to afford. A good majority of us are worried about what's going to happen and where things are going to go. But one of the interesting things I have found during this time is that for all of Vince McMahon's faults, the man has been trying to keep the boat afloat and has been trying to provide the WWE universe with content, with new matches, with storylines, and not bring everything to a halt. And they've tried to do it in a way that, as far as I can tell, has been at the utmost safety for both their talent, their staff, and everyone else. When you figure that you have every other sport right now that should be going on, hockey, baseball, basketball, etc., all being drawn to a halt. When you figure that most of those particular sports are probably not going to have a season this year, if we look at things realistically, WWE, AEW, and all of the other federations are doing their best to try to provide us fans with some sort of escape and some sort of entertainment. Now, for me, that does make it a little bit interesting because obviously there are two mindsets. One is that WrestleMania shouldn't happen. It should just go away. They should put everything on hold. But if they put everything on hold, they're not going to be able to follow through with the storylines they had already developed leading into WrestleMania. You're not going to be able to have McIntyre versus Lesner. You're not going to be able to have Becky Lynch versus Baszler. You're not going to be able to have all these wonderful storylines that they were starting to develop before all this chaos started. So that being said, you also have the other camp, which basically says let the show go on. And if you've ever been in performance or if you've been in entertainment in any way, shape, or form, you will know that that's basically the tagline for any sort of entertainment you can find. The show must go on. Vince and crew and everyone else are trying to do everything that they can to have that show continue forward through this and to do so in a way that's not only entertaining for those of us that are basically paying the bills, but that can still allow the wrestlers and the talent and the staff and everyone else to do so in a safe and healthy way. I kind of have to applaud them for that. So let me head into some of the matches that I'm looking forward to this weekend and hoping and praying that they go the way I hope that they go. First, of course, is going to be Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't like Lesnar. I think it's a waste of space. I understand the draw that he has. I understand the fan base that he has. But ultimately, the storyline that they've taken with this is excellent. Drew's stance is that they need somebody that's full-time, that's going to be in there, that's going to defend that title 24/7, basically, without it being the 24/7 title, obviously. And I agree with that. It needs to go to Drew. Drew's worked his proverbial backside off for it to begin with. But beyond that, the Universal title especially needs to be around someone that is actually going to be able to be at both SmackDown and Raw and be able to defend it pretty much anywhere at any given point in time. And honestly, the man deserves it. He's worked hard for it. He's shown that when he's allowed to be himself and storylines are written around that, he's a huge audience draw as well. So I'm hoping that that goes the way of Drew. Next one for me is Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. Now this one's hard for me because I am ultimately a die-hard Becky Lynch fan. She is what brought me back into wrestling this time around, and I have been trying to play catch-up ever since. I will admit to that. But she has basically become what I wanted to be when I was growing up. She is that woman that has started from the bottom, worked her way to the top, and though she might not be the best athlete, which she will admit to herself in the ring, she is probably one of the best entertainers that the WWE has ever had and needs to maintain. That being said, from a storyline standpoint, I can see this going a few ways. As much as I want Bex to hold on to the title and continue that storyline with Baszler afterwards, it would be great to see Baszler lose, get frustrated that she's built all this up and it hasn't happened, and then have a really, really, really heated feud. I know the WWE hates that word, but have a really, really heated feud continuing after WrestleMania. It would also give Becky a contender for her belt and someone that she could actually play against that I think is going to elevate her as well in the ring, which I think is a win-win. Of course, there are plenty of people that are tired of the man's persona and would like to see her go away. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, and I think if you just give Shayna the belt right off the bat, people are going to start to get frustrated because the women's division, after all, since the women's evolution, has started to go downhill, and they need to be able to keep that going. Shayna getting the belt would be interesting because it would open up a lot of doors for some other storylines to happen, but I personally, beyond being just a Becky Lynch fan, would like to see this storyline continue on longer. I would like to see Becky's skills be used and help elevate Shayna's mic skills. I would like to see Shayna's athletic skills be used and help Becky become a better athlete. In my opinion, that's a win-win, and given how thin the women's division is right now, particularly on Raw, I think that will actually help drag that out for a period of time. I'm really looking forward to the Seth Rollins-Kevin Owens fight as well. This has been played up really well, and both guys have been doing a marvelous job with the story-driven aspect of it. Think what you will of Seth Rollins, the man is an amazing heel and needs to continue on with that. That being said, this one's kind of a hard one for me in regards to who I want to win, because this is one of those matches that I think is going to go either way, and I think either way it goes, It's going to be a wonderful thing for us to watch as the WWE Universe. So another match that I'm obviously really looking forward to is the Edge versus Randy Orton match, because that match is just going to be absolutely stellar, and I have a feeling it's probably going to be one of the best matches, period, that happens this upcoming weekend. You have Edge, who has done everything he can in this particular industry to not only push the boundaries of what can be done, but also what can't be done. And then you also have Orton, who is an unbelievably underrated talent. I know plenty of people sit there and say that they like him, they don't like him, they could take him, they can leave him. But the man has a full, comprehensive understanding of not only character development, but story driving. He does all of those little teeny tiny things that if you're paying attention will absolutely positively send shivers down your spine. But a lot of people overlook that for the glitz and glam of the big moves. He's an amazing in-ring technical wrestler, and I think Edge, being one himself, is going to make this a completely amazing match to watch. It's also one of those matches where I think it could go either way, and we in the WWE Universe are going to be completely happy with it either way, though I have a feeling the win for this one is going to go on to Edge so that he can continue his career, and I am so unbelievably happy to have him back. Another match that's obviously getting a big draw is AJ Styles versus The Undertaker. Now, we've all seen the Saudi matches where The Undertaker has been hit and miss, unfortunately. We've all seen that, yes, Mark Calloway is getting up there. The man's been doing this since the early 90s. That's a long time to have a career in wrestling. But doesn't matter how old or young you are, that death knell sounds and everyone is on their feet cheering. He has a complete, total understanding of how this business works, and at this point in time in his life, he can get those pops with minimal effort, and he deserves it. He's put in that blood, sweat, and tears. AJ Styles, I love. I adore AJ Styles. He makes me laugh. He's one of those heels that you simply love to hate. He makes you giggle. He makes you snarf. He makes you do all these wonderful things, and at the same time, you absolutely hate everything that he's saying. But he weaves in just enough of that truth for it that you understand where he's coming from. So this is going to be an interesting match for me, because obviously Undertaker hasn't won as much as he used to. I don't know how the Boneyard match is going to go. I don't know who Undertaker is going to bring with him when he refers to the Unholy Trinity. But I just think it's going to be a fun match to watch. And hopefully, if things go well, I'm kind of hoping that there's going to be a passing of the torch in some way, shape, or form. The Phenom versus the Phenomenal One. Undertaker is going to make AJ Styles famous, and AJ Styles has the ability to back that up. So, I'm not sure how that one's going to play out, but we're going to have to wait and see, I guess. So those are the main matches that I'm looking forward to heading into WrestleMania. Obviously, the other one that I'm looking forward to is Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Now, I do not like Charlotte Flair. I think she's an amazing athlete. I think she has been given some amazing talent. You cannot deny that. In the ring, she is stellar. I wish she wasn't relying on her father's gimmick so much. And I know everybody's going to sit there and say, well, that's what got her to the table. And it is what got her to the table. Granted, she again put in blood, sweat, and tears, much like any other second or third generation wrestler, to prove that she should be there. Because if she didn't have the ability, and she was Ric Flair's daughter, and she just didn't have it, it would look bad. I understand that. But unfortunately, either she's just been underused, she's just phoning it in most of the time, and I'm not sure if she's truly happy being in professional wrestling anymore. That kind of shows. Rhea Ripley, from what I have seen, I love. She is that absolute bad, I don't want to use words because I would like kids to be able to see this. She's got the image, she's got the ability, she's got the swagger, and from what I have seen, she is going to be phenomenal. And I'm hoping that this is kind of what helps push her over that crest. I like her far more than Baszler. Baszler to me is just dry. She's great technically, but man, that woman has to work on her mic skills. But Rhea, I just adore already, and I've not seen very much of her. So I'm hoping that continues. those are my thoughts on the main matches that are coming up this weekend. I don't want this video to be too overtly long because I do want it to be just sort of an overview of the content that I would like to be able to provide for you going forward. If you have liked this video and if you would certainly like to see more, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that when I upload new content, you'll be able to see it first. And please hit that like button so that I can start generating hopefully more content for you moving forward. Ideally, this is something that I'd like to be doing on a much more regular basis, bi-weekly, if not weekly. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to need to be able to stay home more, which I'm obviously able to do right now. But I would like this to become something that becomes a primary source of income for me so that I can provide you more content, so I can do more of the things that I love, so I can sit there and watch wrestling more and share my thoughts with you, and for all this to be something that we can all enjoy together. I hope you've enjoyed my perspective. Again, my name is Chrysalis. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to leave all of my social media links down for you below so that you can again join me this weekend as I plan on live tweeting. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put those down below as well, and hopefully I will see you soon. Otherwise, enjoy and have a great one.